Today we're here with Akira Gardner, aka Vanessa. I'll be asking you a few questions, but first, let me ask, do you see yourself as a creative?
Yeah, I definitely consider myself a creative. Um, I wouldn't really dub myself an actress per se.
And when you were introduced to the bartender to play the Vanessa character, what was your first thought?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really know much about the show initially. When I was introduced to Orville for a role in the bartender, I was very interested.
What makes up this company? How it is organized?
When we spoke about the character, when Orville called me and we spoke about the character, and he expressed that, okay, your voice or your tone would suit this character, and I went into the characteristics, what makes her up, pretty much. I was like, okay, this sounds like something that I can do. I can just flow into.
7 out of 13.
And so I was very anxious. I remember that my first table read, it was Orville, Christina, Christopher, Sparta, and Shelly. I think Shelly was there. Can't quite remember, but yeah, I think everybody was.
That was a loaded conversation. I hope I didn't overstep.
I was nervous, but yeah, it's been very exciting. I can't wait to see what more Vanessa has to offer, obviously. But yeah, it was a very exciting endeavor for me to take on. I was always excited, nervous, but was excited nonetheless.
Understand. We're all nervous at first. Speaking of nervous, have you had any memorable moments with fans that made you feel nervous on first approach?
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember, and this was in December actually. I was at Pegasus, and there were these ladies inside of the elevator that noticed me, and one of them said, "Nurse" or Vanessa, and I was just so surprised that someone recognized me like that, and I was like, "Oh my god, hi!" I didn't really know what to say because that's my first genuine interaction, but that was very memorable for me, especially because it was my first time interacting with a fan.
And being on set with the bartender cast, how has that been?
That has been a lot of fun. The cast and the production team will always have a lot of fun on set because there's always something to laugh about. Always something to laugh about. I, for one, whenever I mess up lines, it's always a cackle because I have these little weird tidbits, and I think they've caught them.
It is very complicated though.
Everybody always laughing at them, but I think overall, like production team and everybody, it's always a fun time. We're like a family, It gets messy sometimes, but we have fun.
Which
generally
doesn't?
Exactly.
What's one of the funniest moments you've ever had on set, like apart from you messing up your lines?
There have been quite a few very funny moments. Kareem is hilarious. He's hilarious to work with. And I don't remember exactly what it is he said, but it's the way he said it that had me dying. And I think it was when we were shooting the season finale, actually.
My girl, how you know about me? All them time I'm not there. Is she a fast friend? How is she, by the way?
And it was just, he's so charismatic and just full of character. It's hard not to laugh at anything he says because it's supposed to be a serious moment, but he cannot keep his face straight, and we're all just there laughing, and we had to cut and start again. It was like a banter between him and Vanessa.
What you about me?
And I'm just like, oh my god, I have to keep up with him because he's like quick, he's like that. Yeah, that was very memorable and hilarious for me.
Speaking of keeping up, how does Akira keeps up with her daily life and being a part of the bartender?
How do I keep up? I think I have a pretty good handle on that. Shooting bartender for me, because there's a lot of different scenes and different actors.
Mhm.
It's not like I'm the main actress, right? So I'm not the lead role.
No.
So I do get a lot of free time from work that I dedicate to shooting Bartender. And because the scenes are not shot so often, it doesn't take away from my personal life or, you know, my work life. So it is another job, but it's not one that takes up my entire life, really, as of right now. Until we get to the new season, we don't know yet. But I have a pretty good handle on how I balance my time.
You have been featured in a music video, Chronix music video. By the way, I love Chronix.
Me too.
Anyway, being in the music video, how has that been? What was your experience? And is there any other music video that you have been featured in?
Quite a number of them actually. But before I get to that, yeah, when I was contacted by a mutual friend of mine, and she referred me. Actually, I was referred by someone who was working on the production team because they saw my pictures on social media, and that's when I was contacted, and I was so completely excited. I was so excited to just be in that space with other creatives, and La Antoinette Steins. Oh my god, she is brilliant, so talented. That was very exciting for me. That was a genuine acting experience. I had to play out this character, and a lot of people don't know that I got high on set because the character that I was playing is a creative. She's a painter, and she was, you know, smoking, and yeah, I was a little bit buzzed. But the great thing for me is working on a music video production like that with that particular production team. Is I was so extremely comfortable. You know, I wasn't expected to do anything out of the norm. It was a very respectful space, and I felt safe in that space, very safe. But yeah, that was very exciting. It's one of my favorites. I think a lot of other people choose. Like sometimes people do recognize me from the Chronix music video. They're like, "You look like the girl from Chronix music video from Skanking Sweets," and I'm like, "Oh, that's my twin." But yeah. I've been in a few others as well.
Horace Riley and Ching Ching.
There's also Beanie Man and some other artists. There's also RDX. I was in an RDX music video. That was very popular at one point. Quite a few others. Stein, Richelieu. Yeah.
And the experience being in other music videos, they all there's no negative impacts or
no, actually. You know, the thing is, I was never I'm not really a dancer per se. And for me, whenever I've been in any of these music videos, it was always to play a particular character or to just have fun. And it's always been light and inviting and very exciting and not, you know, feeling like I'm in a space where I am compromising myself. And I've been very fortunate to not be forced to go on my head top. But I mean, kudos to who does, you know, brilliant, talented woman. But that's just not my area of expertise, really. So I'm more like maybe the face. Yeah, but it's always been very fun, very exciting.
So apart from the Bartender and the music videos that you have been featured in, what else have you been a part of?
I think I mentioned earlier that I have done some background work in acting for the Bob Marley movie.
From the beginning.
That was very exciting. Oh, yeah. I've also done modeling throughout my life. I started at a pretty young age, actually. 16. But yeah, I started modeling, runway, prints, swimwear, and doing creative concepts. I can say after that, my creative work has included me being more of the background person. Creative conceptualizing, creative directing. Many credits for music videos for creative directing, styling, which I'm also credited in magazines, and just a lot of different production work as production manager or production assistant. It depends. Script writing also, and I am a writer. That is my passion is centered there in writing. So I do write poems and short stories. Overall, I think I mentioned this as well. I definitely consider myself a creative person.
What advice would you give someone who wants to become an actress or an actor, but they're afraid to? Maybe it's a case where they have been bashed, maybe they have been told that they are not ready, maybe even that they can't. What advice would you give them? What would you say to them?
I would say just go for it. I mean, if you sit and contemplate or overthink too much, you may never do it. I always say that fear can either do two things for you. One of two things for you. Fear can either motivate you or it can debilitate you. And you do not want to end up in a space where you do not act on your passions, your goals, your desires, your dreams because of fear. Because of fear of, other people's opinions, or fear that you may even fail. And I have experienced that, throughout my life. My fear has caused me to just sit back and not do something because I don't want to fail, or I am too focused or concerned about what the public may think. You just have to just do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Just like the Nike logo and the Nike that's the slogan, right? Just do it.
In relation to your own upbringing and experience in Jamaica, how has that influenced your portrayal of your character?
Oh wow. I can definitely say that some of the things that Vanessa experienced, especially in relation to her relationship. Are you serious? When you answer that question for me, I'll answer that question for you. I have had similar experiences, not with a married man. No. But just the emotions behind it.
Now I'm wondering if he really loved me. I sent him messages and voice notes and telling him that I was in the hospital and nothing.
And how some of these how she takes some of these on, how she expresses herself in some of these moments. Do you remember that message that you sent me and then you just cut me off like a bad habit? And now you expect me to do what? Run back to your feet the minute you tell me that you're ready, as if nothing happened? I can't say all of the moments I can relate to, or I would have done the same, but I definitely understand it based on my personal experience. And as someone living in Jamaica who has received therapy throughout my life at various times, I can definitely say her character plays an integral part in the Bartender series in creating that therapeutic space for certain hard conversations to be had.
I think the issue here is that you're so defensive. And I think that's what we need to tackle. You need to figure out why you're so defensive, why you feel the need to defend yourself.
The character herself seems a little bit troubled. I think naturally, anybody, whether you're a therapist or a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, you deserve the right to your own, mental health being cared for and catered to by a professional. So maybe she needs her own therapist.
I think something is wrong.
You would never just disappear like this.
What if that Mullins guy kidnapped him?
It doesn't take away from the fact that she is human, even though she has the professional background. And I can relate to some of these inflections that you may see, like how she interacts with even Tonya and the closeness of that.
It's just that I couldn't find anywhere else to go, so I thought, let me come here.
I may be a little more guarded. She may be a little bit more open, but I understand why she is seeking a friend. I totally get it. I understand why she doesn't want to feel abandoned, why it is easy for her to feel abandoned.
I can't go back to work now, Sonia. I'm supposed to talk to people about their life, help them fix it. How can I do that? My life is a wreck.
I totally understand her upbringing as a dark-skinned girl, being told that she's not beautiful, that she's the opposite of that. Because, growing up, I was always teased because of my features, because I do not have Eurocentric features. I have very thick lips, a big mouth, and, not a very small nose, and I was also called Whoopi a lot. Girl, them used to call me Whoopi, and it used to hurt me when I was younger, and I had locks too, So, and when you're younger, you're darker because you're in the sun. You're always in the sun, so of course. But entering high school, I attended an all-girls school, so from primary school to entering high school and being around all these different communities, especially with how I was raised, because I was raised very open and accepting and inviting, and always wanting to create a safe space for people. When I got into other spaces, and you have all these very white kids and lighter kids, it wasn't a shocker for me, because that's the environment that I was raised in. But understanding the defeats of really internalizing that I am not beautiful because these people are telling me that I'm not beautiful. I am not worthy because they're telling me that I'm not worthy. I am too dark. I am not who I see on TV. And who I see on TV is made fun of, no matter how successful they are.
Yeah.
So I understand, the insecurities that led Vanessa to fully trust in this politician. I totally understand how she was able to become so completely vulnerable, so that he may, manipulate the situation, because she never had someone really telling her that she is a beautiful Black woman. You often, and I would hear this too, you're beautiful for a Black girl. You're so pretty for a Black girl. And in my early 20s, I remember, not even early 20s, I think I was maybe 19. I remember saying to someone, that is such an insult. I don't think you understand how much of an insult that is, because why am I beautiful for a Black girl? Shouldn't I just be a beautiful girl or a beautiful Black girl? For a Black girl, it's as if you're saying, oh, Black girls are not generally beautiful.
Yeah.
That is an insult to me. And though I may not have the societal standards of what beauty is, which is the Eurocentric features, I am beautiful. I am gorgeous. Hello, ma'am. Look at me. And I would hope that, a lot of young women who are watching Bartender see themselves in Vanessa and understand the character and say to themselves, she's beautiful. And I understand her and I feel beautiful. There are people who Vanessa stand as a mirror for. And when you become a mirror to someone else, it is hard for them to cope. because they're not taking accountability for the fact that they've allowed society to make them have this distorted view on what a woman should look like, you know, what a beautiful woman should look like, and how humans should be human because she is flawed. She's not perfect.
Sad, but we do need people like that in order for the world to go around, because without them, certain things wouldn't happen. Understand? And if it's a case where to you, you're not beautiful, and because I say your mouth is big, and the confidence in you should just brush that one side.
Exactly.
Because if you follow what the comments say, follow what people in your everyday life says, trust me, you would never move.
Oh, I never follow the comments, darling.
Right.
I never follow the comments. No, but I totally agree. I totally agree. And it is something that we as Black people and as Jamaicans especially struggle with, because we may not experience racism a lot here, but we do experience colorism. We do experience classism. And, you know, there is this prejudice when it comes to features and sexism. No, big. So I have experienced all of those.
Right.
So I'm sure you may, you know, have those experiences too. So I can speak on those experiences, and I can just let a lot of other women know that they're not alone enough.
Yeah.
You know, I am bold enough to put myself out there and to see certain comments, and I have empathy for the person who is making the most negative comment, because I am thinking, you must have experienced some kind of trauma or have some kind of deep-rooted dislike for yourself for you to feel that way about another person who represents, if not 98% of the population, you know, who represents your mother, your sister, your cousin.
Right.
So I have empathy for those people. I sympathize.
If Vanessa were to have a romantic love interest, apart from Daly, who would that be?
Vanessa already has a love interest, you know?
And that is?
Christopher. That is the right love interest. I feel like it doesn't get better than that. I mean, actually, you know, I wouldn't mind playing around with the idea of Vanessa and Kev, because he is cuckoo and she's a therapist.
So you would like to get in his head?
Yes, I would love to see how that dynamic unfolds. But I mean, Wisco and Vanessa is the natural order.
So people, there you have it. Akira Gardner, aka Vanessa. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
My pleasure.
And stay safe.
Yeah, let's get some popcorn.